Hi guys, today's video is going to be all about the viral cat's eye heart trend that I'm sure you guys have seen on TikTok. I think this might top the overall times I've ever been tagged in something. If somehow you're not sure what I'm talking about, it is this heart-shaped design that people have been doing with cat's eye gel, and the hack part of it is that you can do this with just your magnet, which you already need anyway for cat's eye, and a paper clip or some sort of like small thin magnetic wire. So this video is definitely coming out different than I had intended. Originally, I was going to do like I normally do and do like 5 different hacks in one video, but I'm not gonna lie, I got so carried away with the cat's eye. If you've watched me for a while, you'll know that cat's eye is one of my absolute favorite types of gel. So getting more into it with this trend just made me kind of spiral, and I ended up spending, and I'm not exaggerating, like 10 hours perfecting this heart and also playing around with my other types of magnets to see what designs I could get. So this is going to be different because normally I will try the hack with you guys, but I scrapped the video that I first tried it in because although it seems easy, I feel like there's a lot of little mistakes you can make to not get this to work. And that's definitely the sentiment I've seen in the comments of these videos, is that a lot of people are still having trouble. So what I wanted to do was perfect it so that way I could give you my best tips on how to get it down. We all know that I'm not someone that's going to pick this up right away. I'm not going to try it and it's going to work perfectly the first time. That's just not how I manage to do things, unfortunately. So I figured with this, because I was able to get it and now I can pretty much get it like every single time, I wanted to give you guys my best tips for how to do this in case you are struggling with this method. Let me just show you guys my progression with this design. It started out, I wasn't able to get it like at all. Like I didn't understand why it wasn't working. And then after messing around with different ways to hold my magnet and also how I did the wire as well, I was able to get it and have a perfect heart just the way I liked it. So on this video's roster is I'm going to show you guys to the best of my ability how I think this is the easiest to do and give you all of my tips. I will give you a couple alternative ways to do this and other materials you can use. I'll show you guys some of the designs I was able to make with the magnets, as well as mess around with them with you guys for a little while. Because there are so many different ways you can put the magnet, you can pretty much get a different outcome every single time, and you'll see what I mean, because honestly, I bought a lot of magnets. I probably have hundreds at this point, not meaning like big ones, but definitely hundreds of small ones in different shapes to make all these different designs. And last but not least, we will do my nails with the heart cat's eye design. I still will try the hacks I had intended to do in the first video at another point, but I just ended up wanting to spend so much time on this design because I love cat's eye and I love hearts, and I just had so much fun with it. So last but not least, let's get into my tutorial and tips and tricks to how to get this viral heart cat's eye design to work for you. Alright, before we get started, if you are also wanting to master this and you are determined to, go grab a paper clip, some cat's eye gel, and a test nail or something, and do this along with me step by step so that hopefully we can all do this together and all get it on the first try. So I am going to be using a paper clip, but you can use any other small magnetic wire. Although you do not want it to be too thin or too thick, I will show examples of that later, but aiming for about this thickness and length is good. And specifically, if you are willing to go out and get them, these ones from Target are vinyl coated, so they have plastic around the metal, and that can help with a more distinct design, but it's not necessary. So we're gonna start by undoing this, and I find that it's easiest to get the wire straight if you straighten out each section as you do it. Don't just undo the whole thing and then try to straighten it, do it as you go. So we'll do that, that's good enough. This section, that's good. And then finally this little end. Now that we have our straightened wire, like I said, this has a vinyl coating on it, so I'm going to remove that from just here up. And I'm doing that on each side. Then you're going to want to find your midpoint and bend it together. I like to leave a little hoop at the bottom. Personally, I feel like that works very well. Of course, you can bend this with your hands, but to me, it hurts my hands, so I am going to use pliers. I do recommend to use pliers if you have some. So I'm going to try to leave about this much at the top, hold it, and then bend the bottom, like so. Now you really don't need to bend this a bunch of times. You can do it once. If you are wanting to move the curve of this top part though, I recommend twisting it at least twice because this will easily come undone if you try to move these wires or these ones. But this looks fine to me. I'm just going to trim these down. And that is how mine looks. Now we're getting into the little details. So the way I'm going to show you is what works for me and how I've found it to work every single time. But this definitely isn't the only way. So if you see someone bending the wire at an angle or something like that, that definitely probably also works for them and can work, but this is just the easiest way for me. Unfortunately, how flat and even your wire is does matter. I find that I only need to angle the tips of this down just slightly so that they're both even, like literally just like that much. Like it has a very, very slight curve, and here's from the other side, and they both touch down pretty evenly. The hoop I have right here isn't exactly perfect, but it will still work. So now that's all I'm going to do for the wire itself. It's as simple as that for me anyway. So we have this, I'm gonna set this aside. And let's talk about magnets. Now, the easiest magnet, in my opinion, for this is going to be just one of these regular cat's eye nail magnets that you most likely already have because you bought some cat's eye gel and you got one with it. Not to say this is the only one that will work, but it's just what makes the most sense to me. For this to easily work, you want some sort of magnet that has a edge on it. This one is stronger and it will work, but it's going to be a little bit more difficult since this edge is so thin. This one is a little bit easier, but after I do my main demo, I will show you how it works with this one. Now that we have our magnet ready and our wire, let's move on to the cat's eye itself. Now, this cat's eye from Nails by Deb is absolutely perfect. The heart shape is going to look best with a gel that is just color and only small cat's eye pieces and not other types of glitter or pigment. You just want the color and magnetic pieces. That's going to be the easiest. Anything else will make it difficult to see, and it most likely won't be as strong because there's other things in the gel, so the amount of cat's eye pigment is going to be less. An example of that would be this one. This is one of my favorite cat's eye gels, but for designs it wouldn't be the best because it has a ton of other reflective glitter and the cat's eye in it is a lot less concentrated. Gels like this one with a shift in them with the cat's eye also will work, but it will be a little bit more difficult to see. So if you're just practicing, it might not be the best to use, but this will also work. It's just not the easiest to see with the design. Lastly, there are also like hollow type ones, which again will work, but because there's so many different colors and stuff, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to see, but again, will still totally work. That being said, let me put my gel on. Another thing to consider is if you've had a cat's eye gel sitting for a while, some of the pigment may have settled at the bottom, so you want to make sure to shake that up. And you also don't want it to be too cold because I have plenty of like cat's eye gels that work great unless it's cold. If it's cold, they don't really move very well. So you can just put that in between your legs while you're setting up, hold it for a little while. I personally now have a mug warmer that I can use to quickly warm up my gels. I don't let it sit on here for too long, I promise. But I can't use a heater in this room, so this room does get quite cold, and this is the perfect solution for me. I'm going to use my strong magnet to initially move the pieces where I want, but then I'll use my other one. You can definitely use the same magnet. This is just easier for me. Now that you have your gel down, we want to make it so that it looks as bright and as like flashy and shiny as possible, and then stop. You don't want your magnet to be too close, and you don't want to move it too quickly or too much. And it also, again, really depends on what magnet you have, but you just in general want it to kind of do this. You see that part right there? That's what we want over most of the nails. So then I'll go on the other side with the opposite side. I did the side on the right with this side, and then I'm going to flip it for the other side. We're going to kind of want to do the same thing. Now you can see both sides are kind of like that, and then I'm going to stick it here and just let everything else get super shiny. And you want it to kind of look like that. You see that like flash in that. That's how you want it to look. After that, stop. If you hold the magnet on too long and the pigment stops going towards the magnet and starts going away, then you need to essentially like reflip it so that it will go towards it. But it's also so much easier to just re-wipe the nail with some gel to kind of like reset it. Now I'm going to grab this magnet and I'm going to sit my wire about, I would say here. How far the magnet is away from this point does matter. You can put it here, but the outcome is going to be a little bit different. And it does suck, but it's also going to vary a little bit depending on what gel you're using, what magnet you have, and what wire you're using. So here's how mine looks on here. You want these parts right here to be touching the magnet equally. If they are not, one side will be stronger than the other. And also if they're only like half touching right here, you're going to end up needing to move the magnet up more, and that can affect how well the heart comes out. And it could end up being like too strong, which we actually don't want. And then it's too far, it might not be strong enough. So kind of in the middle is usually pretty good. I don't really have these parts curved here because I prefer the heart without it curved, but I have a ton of examples of different types of wire and shapes that I am going to show you guys in a little bit. So now we have this already. Now I'm going to place this down on my nail. When you place it down, you're going to want to make sure you go up and down, not swiping it. And you also want to make sure you're hovering over it with the magnet kind of almost under it a little bit. And that's why we bend that a little bit, just so it can point downward just a tiny bit. You might need a tiny bit more curve in the general part right here, depending if you have a curvier nail or if you're trying to go farther up. But in general, you want to hover above, but not too close to the nails. And lastly, you want to make sure that the tips of your wire are fairly equal with the edge of the magnet here. You don't want it like that. You don't want to do it like that. You just kind of want it parallel. All right, so we're putting it all together now. Going to sit it down. And I'm hovering above, but I'm not too close. The closer you get, the smaller it's actually going to be. And the farther away, the less defined it's going to be. So once you do that, there you have it. A perfect heart. And then I would cure that quickly. That way nothing can interfere. All right, now I'm going to explain a little bit, just a little bit. I'm no magnet expert, okay? I'm just explaining this to the best of my ability. Could not be correct with the terms exactly, but I'm trying to just explain it in a way that's going to make sense on how to do this. Essentially, this edge right here is magnetizing the pieces so that they want to go to the magnet, but the wire is attached to the part that wants to push them away. Therefore, where the magnet can reach, it's trying to like pull it, but there's something on top of it pushing it away, which is going to leave that mark. So for the way that I do it anyway, it's not just the wire making that shape, it's the magnet itself and the wire working together, which is where I went wrong a lot when I was doing this. So that one is pretty much almost like a perfect heart to me. Now let's do a little bit of troubleshooting if you're still having issues. So the first troubleshooting I'm going to show you guys is the magnet itself. Like you guys can see here, I have this laying on this flat part here, but unfortunately different magnets might do different things. So let's say I want to use my big magnet. So of course we will start off by magnetizing all the pieces. There we go, very bright. And I'm going to do the same thing that I did on my other one, right? I'm going to have it on the flat part. Now what's going to happen with this one is you're going to get that, right? That sucks. That like basically made an ombre. Doesn't really matter if we move the magnet like farther away. It's just not really working. You might be able to get a little bit of a heart shape on the top, but other than that, it kind of just like demagnetized everything. And that's not really what we want. So let me just pull these back. Again, no matter how many times I try, what angle, it's just not going to really work. And I can even try to like remagnetize them and do it again, and it's just gonna not really work that well. So what's wrong here is I'm using this magnet like this magnet, and this magnet actually works oppositely. So to make it work, we're going to need to balance this on the edge, which is why I said I don't really recommend like skinny ones like this, because if you tilt this or move too quick, it can just flop and want to be magnetized to the bigger part. But we will leave it like this. So now we will try again. And there you have it. Now it works. So it really could just be as simple as using a different edge of your magnet. And that is also a pretty perfect heart too. Now let's run into another mistake. Actually, this one's full of mistakes, all right? So I will show you the difference between a little bit of a curve in the tips of the wire and straight in a little bit, but this one has a very curved top up here. It's also not very even. And also this is quite a bit of excess wire down here. The power of the magnet is going to be going through this entire wire, not just this top part up here or up here. The whole thing is magnetized. So you are losing a little bit of the power to this part here. Now you can't really make it like super short, or maybe you can. You'd have to play around with it, but you might run into some issues if you have the magnet that close to the nail. Anyway, this one has all the problems. It's very curved. I have this tilted down quite a bit more, and the part that touches the wire isn't super even. I'm going to use this magnet because I can lay this down flat and not have to do it on the edge like the big one, but I'm going to put that like this. It's not touching very evenly or very well. And also the tips on this are not super even either. So something like this can still work for sure, but something you're going to run into is it's not going to be as defined. And so, you know what, I'll move the magnet a little bit closer and get it more defined. But then what you're seeing is a line through the middle. Now that is because these are too curved. I can even try to sort of hold it away a little bit more and that will help, but then it's going to be, again, not as defined. So right here, I'm hovering just barely over it, almost touching it. So if you get this like line in the middle, you are either too close to the nail or your V here is pointed too down. Since that was too close, we can kind of hover, I don't know, maybe like half a centimeter away, and it's still going to kind of work, but it's just not going to be perfect. You might still get that like center piece. There might still be a lot of pigment in the center. Also, this is not even, so I'm having to tilt the magnet different ways to try to get it center. Not to say you can't make it work, like this is fine, but it's just not as distinct as the other ones. And it took quite a while to sort of mess around with it. Although, like I said, I have examples of different wires and stuff to show you. So this is a pretty thin wire. This is a paper clip. And then this is a thicker flat wire. I would say I made this one a little bit too long, but it's okay. As you can see, the smaller the wire, the thinner the edge of the heart. So this one has a little, you know, it's more distinct. This one spreads out a little more, and this one spreads out even more. And that's really the biggest difference for the thickness of the wire. If you're wondering what wire you can get, a lot of craft stores have like craft wire or jewelry wire. Unfortunately, you wouldn't really know that they're magnetic just by looking at them though, because they don't often say what material the metal is. So what you're gonna have to do is take a magnet to the store, like I did, and run your magnet across the wires you're looking at and see which ones stick. Or, you know, if you forget, you can likely find a magnet in said craft store as well, and it should still even work through whatever package. But that's how you can find wire if you're not wanting to use a paper clip. The thinner ones here are definitely easier to bend than a paper clip if that's like hurting your hands. Or you want to try to make like other shapes or mess around with it, you know, that's an option. Also, how long the little V here is also makes a difference in the shape of the heart. You can see smaller V equals wider heart. That one's a good in between. And of course, this is longer, so it made more of a skinnier heart. This is the same type of wire. This one has a tiny bit of a longer side than the other, and you kind of get that different shape. But as you can tell, these are longer also, and that is a skinnier heart opposed to a little bit of a fatter heart. As for this specific wire, I have the difference between using this magnet right here. I'm gonna put it here, hopefully it doesn't go. And using this magnet here, there's not a huge difference, but this one is a little bit more distinct because it was able to be attached to a lot more of the magnet, and this one was only on the edge. So both of these have a slight curve to them, so they go a little bit in, they're not just like straight out and just a little bit. This is with a large one. As you can tell, it's definitely a little skinnier. And this is a very, very small one with thin wire. These are definitely a little different, but you can see the difference between like a straight, it's wider, and then the curve down here, it's a little bit skinnier. There are also alternative materials. For example, this one was a safety pin, and it was pretty hard to bend. And of course, you need to be super careful snipping off the pointy part and the other part, but that's how that looked. This one has a little bit almost like of a flare out, so you get a really straight-sided heart. If you are really struggling with magnetizing the pieces beforehand, you don't absolutely have to. Personally, I think it looks better when you do, but if you're trying to just get the hang of it, you don't have to. Alright, so I've not done anything to this after I painted it, so now we'll just go straight in. If you haven't magnetized it, you need to really make sure that you're doing the angle right though, because you can easily end up with kind of like a weird tail on it where it trails. So make sure that your magnet is staying kind of like underneath a little bit more. And here is that without magnetizing it first. So it still looks good. Now that I have it down with my specific magnet, I feel like I can get it every single time. Remember that if it's not working for you, don't keep trying to do the same thing over and over. Change what you're doing with the magnet placement, with the curve, with the side of the magnet you're using. if it's gonna work, it will pretty much work right away. Please let me know if this helped at all or if I was able to explain it in a way that made sense. I really hope it was helpful. I feel like it's a very useful design to know, so I hope everyone can get it. So if you watch that and you want that design, but you don't want to figure it out with like your own magnet and have to twist your own wire and just sort of mess with that, I do have a couple alternatives for you to also get a heart design on your nails with the cat's eye. Thankfully, this is not your only option. So let me show you what else you can do. You may have also seen these. This is, of course, another alternative to this method. They do make magnets that are already in the heart shape. I already magnetized my nail, and I'm gonna just sit this down as close as I can get without touching. There you go, you get the idea. So that is definitely an alternative if you do not want to mess with this or have to troubleshoot. This will do it this way every single time. And usually these come in big sets of different designs, and the other ones kind of look like this. I think that these plus some other tools, all of these different little magnets, was like $9 or $10 on Amazon, so that's not too bad. I've never used this one before, so I am curious to what this would look like. Well, I guess that's pretty self-explanatory, huh? Let's try this one. Oh, cool. These are so fun. So again, I will of course leave the link for all of these below if you are getting cat's eye obsessed like me. I used to have this heart one, but I have no idea where it went, so I had to reorder this for this video. And I'm really glad I did because I only had the heart one. I didn't have all this other stuff. I think I lost the heart one somewhere in my room, and I have a lot of metal wire racks in this room, and I think it's stuck to one of those. So with the alternative of designated magnets, there is one more other magnet that is a little bit more flexible for designs, so let's get into that one. And this is also if you want to do something else, is there are just like tiny little magnetized pens that you can get, and these ones have a fairly weak magnet so that you can draw in it. And this is fun in case you want to do anything else. And there you have it. I feel like that can definitely be easier if you already have one of these or that's what you want to get and do other designs. I do have another one. This one's from Eno, but this one is much stronger, so I would have to be super careful doing it with this one, but it does work. If you have a ultra sensitive like gel that moves super easily, this one would be too much for it. But in general, these work really well and are a really good option. This one might be a little hard to see since it's like green on green, but especially if you're say wanting to do like a half heart, like so, that's like very defined. And then like with that, you could also push them towards this as well. This one definitely probably could have been heated up a little bit. It's definitely slow moving right now, like that. So this gel is the green magnetic gel from Secret Nail Affair, that one. And it looks fine like this, but let me put the flashlight on so you can really see how pretty. Now here's where I got really sucked into just spending so much time messing around with designs with the cat's eye, is I have so many different magnets like I had said, and if you put them together in different variations, you get different designs. And you can pretty much just do this forever, and I really feel like I did. So I want to do this with you guys because I feel like it's such a fun thing to do. I mixed up some cat eye gels because I have some cat eye pigments I've been dying to use, and these are just pure magnetic pigments, so you can like mix them into whatever you want. You can put as much as you want or as little. You can mix them in your favorite gels and stuff like that. I want to pause really quick and give a specific shout out to someone because in one of my past videos, I had mentioned something about wanting a specific type of glitter or pigment powder, and I read one of your comments, and it is from Laurel Loaf, and you recommended this website and it's Glitter Unique, and I was able to find exactly what I had been searching for. So shout out to you because I was so excited to finally be able to get these pigments that I was wanting, and I'm going to be playing with these a little bit today, but I got way more than these couple of powders you're going to see me use. So let me know if you want a whole video of me just like mixing up my own gels. They had pure reflective glitter, they had the magnetic cat's eye pigment, they had the prettiest glitter, they had so much. So let me know if you guys want that. Sorry for the interruption, let's get back to it. So I essentially decided to mix up my own because both of these came from doing my husband's nails last night. I mixed up this one and I didn't love it for what I wanted to do on his nails, and then this is what I ended up with for his nails. So I figured I'd use this to play around with today, and then I mixed something earlier with this concoction and it was so beautiful. I'm not sure what this is gonna look like on this, but hopefully it is pretty. So this is kind of like a copper brownish looking nail right now. Let's magnetize it. Ooh, it's so pretty. So like I said, I have so many different magnets and you can put them together to do so many different things. Look at all of these. Look at the possibilities. I'm gonna grab, let's say, this little stack out right now. Although they are all very strong. So we'll start off with these teeny tiny magnets. I got all of these off Amazon. I will link them all, of course. So I go and I stack these into like 4 stacks and put them in a square. And look what it does. Like, look at that. You could make so many cool things with that. That could be like a butterfly or like a 4-leaf clover or something. Or you could like make a pattern in it. Isn't that cool? For this one, we'll use what's left over from my husband's set. He wanted to get in on the heart magnet trend too, so I did some red Valentine's Day heart cat's eye nails, and they came out so cute. It's always so different doing nails on really short nails. And also, since I was doing it on his nails and they're so small, I actually had to use a thinner wire than I had been using for the rest of this because I just needed like a smaller heart. And look at that. So with these bar magnets, you can sort of do different like orientations of them sticking together like on the sides like this, and it will give you different layouts. If you stack them like all together, it really just gives you like a line, but this will just give you like a different kind of like swirl. So let's do this. Ready? I'm just gonna place it like directly on top. Hold it for a sec, and look at how cool. Isn't that so pretty? It looks so whimsical. Then of course we can add like these types of magnets in. It does get kind of difficult for sure because a lot of these are very strong. Like this. Let's just try this. I don't know what this is gonna do, but I guess we'll see. And let me show you guys this green now. It is so pretty. It's like a green gold. I just mixed the gold and silver magnetic pigments in this one in a lime green jelly color, and I also added in some mixing gel because this is very, very thin and you kind of want to thin it out a bit so that it can, one, cure and your pieces can move freely. I like to personally get all of the magnetic pieces looking like super shiny like this on top before I do any other designs on it. I feel like it just makes them pop that much more, but you can also just go straight in with like the design ones. It just might not look as shiny. Okay, let's try this. I'm just gonna do it kind of at an angle. Okay, that wasn't as exciting as I had hoped for. Let's retry that. I'm gonna push my pieces back. There we are. And then I don't know, I'm just gonna stick some of these on here, push them all to one side as much as I can. And we can also add in like a magnetic ball or two, just cuz. All right, take your vote. Will this look cool? I don't know. Ready? Well, that looks okay. Kind of just like a wave going on the outside here. Again, it's simple, but it's just so pretty looking. You can absolutely do this without doing all this weird stuff, but it is also just fun to see like what it can do. Got the balls on this. And let's just see what it does. If you want like more distinct outlines, you have to get really close with it. Ooh, weird. Let's go back to the bars. I think I want to do like a stair step type this and see how that looks. Fun. Again, like it looks just like funky shapes. I also would like to add, I know I'm not like doing anything new that I'm sure a ton of people haven't done before, but I've just been having a lot of fun doing it. So that's why I wanted to do it with you guys. I'm sure anyone could figure this out and do it on their own, but I just felt like it was fun. Ooh, that on top of the blue is really pretty. You know, I haven't actually even tried the bars like this, just like down on it yet. All right, straight down. Ooh, fun. Makes sense. I don't know what I was expecting. I have this and I want to put the bar on the other side. You have to be so careful though, because everything can like snap together. It's kind of annoying when it does that. All right, we have a whatever this is. I'm not sure what I'm calling this. All right, I'm gonna just set this one down, kind of like, all right, is this doing anything? Not really. Oh wait, you know what, kinda. Oh wait, that actually does do something. Ooh, fun. The hardest thing is you have to get really close but not touch it still. I was going to be done, but I'm going to make one more because it flipped to this and I just want to know what that will look like. Again, it's hard to do it without touching it, so I'm doing my best. That looks so cool. I love it. I'm going to try to flip this one this other way. There we go. I think switched back and forth like that on those are going to look even better. Let's try that. That's cool. That one's a good one. All right, y'all. Remember that one. Good thing I have a video how-to look back on how to do that one. I think that might be one of the coolest ones. So here is everything we just did. I could, not exaggerating, literally do this all day long. But I do want to do my nails today, and we're going to definitely do the heart design with them. However, before we do that, I want to show you guys some of the other designs that I did off camera yesterday. This one, I was trying to do some like zodiac sign action. Didn't really work out that well. You know, this is a very nice swirl if I do say so myself. Got this kind of just like random, whatever. Can maybe see in this one a tiny bit, there's like a flower type thing going on. Did like a cute little butterfly design. And then these, which have hearts, but I also just did some other kind of like random designs around them. So now finally, let's do my nails. I love the Valentine's Day aesthetic, so I am super excited to be doing Valentine's Day nails. So let's get into that. I think I want to go like a soft pink, like more of like a neutral nudish pink, but it's definitely still pink, and also do like gold with it, I think. I again am going to mix up my own cat's eye. This is a tiny gel. This is 066. And this is a little bit of like a darker peachy nude. And I'm going to need quite a bit of it. There we go. But we'll also need to thin it out once we add some pigment. I think I'm going to add some of this, just a tiny bit, just to kind of like make it a tiny bit more pink. It's kind of hard because I don't have any pink jelly that's like, I don't know, like more pink, I guess. This one's very pigmented, so we'll see how that tiny little dot does. Let's mix this up and see if I like it. It, of course, will end up even a little bit lighter than this because I'll be mixing in like the pigments, and I'll be mixing in just clear gel so that we can lighten it up. Okay, see, okay, that is definitely more pink. I like it. I feel like this will go really well with gold. I'm gonna grab some of this magnetic pigment from Bonnie B, and this is just like that plain, really bright silver. Then I'm gonna add some of this gold. Now this gold tends to go like more on the green side, so I'm gonna try to be conservative with it. I don't really want this looking like a coppery color, so I am just going to add like a little bit of it, but I definitely do want some gold to come out. That's probably good. Let's mix this up. It always looks so pretty. And that definitely, now looks like just a silver/gold, but remember, we're going to be moving the pigment like out of the way. All of this pigment can move, but I might add a little bit more color anyway. We'll see. I'm first going to add more mixing gel just so that we can thin this out. I think we're going to need to do a test. Okay, let's see about this. Looking all right. Of course, we need to do our magic with it. Trying to catch the light right, but there we are. I like it. I feel like it's very pretty. Definitely like a light pink into like a really light gold. I like it. How cute. That looks so cute. Think that it's perfect. I was almost gonna say I feel like it needs even more pigment though. Maybe I thinned it out too much. So I'll just add a tiny bit more. I did go ahead and just put some tips on, that way we can get straight into it. These are Apres extra long square tips in collaboration with Sean Legend. I'm going to put this base on all of my nails. This is just the same color that's underneath all this pigment. It is pretty light, but that is what I'm wanting. I'll probably do 2 coats of this. It is pretty faint. Maybe I will add a little bit more color for the second layer. Okay, I added a little bit more of the jelly gel and it is looking a little bit darker. I still want them to kind of have like a little bit of a transparency to them, so I don't want them too dark. And let's do our first heart nail. Do the thumb. We'll put a good amount of this gel on. I haven't actually done one of these magnetic hearts on my finger yet. It's only been on tips or on David's nails. Okay, I think it's so much harder on your hand, probably. Got our nice little like flash effect going. And now the moment of truth, the heart nail. I'm gonna kind of do it at the bottom here. It is perfect. Well, it would be perfect if it was a little bit more center, but it's pretty perfect. I love it. This is so cute. Okay, not all of the nails I'm thinking are gonna have this on it, but they're all gonna have the cat's eye of some sort. I do want them for the most part to like cover the nails because these look kind of crusty otherwise. Okay, I do know I also want it on this nail. All right, good to go on that front. And let's try to do it again. Oh, love it so much. Although if only I was a little better at centering it because it's a little tilted. That's okay though. This one might be a little ambitious, we'll see. But what I want to do is do essentially like multiple layers of it. So kind of like do a big heart and then do smaller ones in between. We'll see. All right, I'm going to try to do a bigger heart. I don't know if that's going to work, but it's a really good heart. I think I might be taking it back about doing a heart on every single one. I love it. So they all are getting hearts, which is okay because they're super cute like that. So it's actually getting so late for me today. So I'm going to finish these tomorrow. So I'm going to top coat them because I do not want anything to happen to these pretty hearts. And then I will come back fresh to do the rest of the decorating tomorrow. I feel like sometimes you just need to do that. Like I have ideas for this, but I'm just like a little too scattered now after doing so many different designs today and yesterday. I just want to be able to like come in tomorrow and just do like rhinestones and any nail art and stuff I want to do. And I think that they will turn out best that way. These look so much prettier with a top coat. Like they look pretty without, but with a top coat, like wow. All right, there we are. I will come back tomorrow and we can finish these. I feel like so much work went into these even though it didn't because I spent so long perfecting the heart. So it feels like I spent forever on these when I really didn't. So we gotta add something else to this. All right, so I will be back in a sec, I guess. It's the next day for me and I feel so much more refreshed to come back and do this. So I have these rhinestones and I'm gonna try to pronounce this right. All right. Preciosa, and I just saw that they have the size SS2, which is so tiny. Most of the smallest rhinestones that you generally get are SS3, so these are extra small and they're so tiny and I love them. And I was so excited that they had these, so I ordered a bunch of different colors because you know when you have like an edge on the nail or something and the space looks empty but it's too small of a space to actually fit something, I feel like these will be perfect. So let's do some heart outlines with these. I think that'll be so cute. So sparkly. I'm not sure if I want any of the other designs that I'm going to do on top to overlap. So I'm going to just do that first on each nail. I kind of want maybe like another heart or two on each nail, and I'm going to do it in the same gel, but I'm just going to magnetize it so that it stands out, which is actually quite difficult to draw on. I think that looks okay. Okay, let's get this so we can sort of see. Okay, and then maybe a couple other little hearts. Now, finally, for the heart rhinestones, I think I'm gonna have it be like a, not an interlock type one with this heart, but kind of going that same way. All right, ready for the tiniest rhinestones? I was really excited to have found these. I feel like on a lot of things, especially if you're like bedazzling something, the smaller the rhinestones, the better it looks, and it looks, I don't know, like more expensive, I think, because it takes so much more time if you're using small rhinestones. But I feel like things with tiny rhinestones look so much better most of the time. Of course, it depends like what you're rhinestoning, but when things are on a small scale already, the smaller the rhinestone, I feel like the better it looks. And it's just like that much more sparkly. And like, look at how perfect these are. I could not imagine trying to use like any bigger rhinestones for these. I'm gonna have to order a bunch of these tiny ones. And now we just have to do that for the rest of them. I don't think every single one's gonna get a heart like that, but I don't know. Let's for sure do a rhinestone heart on this one. I'm gonna kind of try to have it be tilted. I feel like I'm a bit better nowadays at drawing hearts, but I have a really hard time drawing them tilted. Like my brain just does not compute on that. To try to get it even, I'm gonna just do rhinestones one by one on each side. And then a probably pretty small rhinestone heart over here. And then I'm just gonna do the rest in cat's eye hearts. And now just some finishing touches with extra little hearts. And last but not least, let's do a top coat and get around those rhinestones. Hopefully make sure everything's sealed in well. And we are done. I absolutely love how these come out, and I'm so glad that this trend happened. Absolutely perfect for Valentine's Day, and so many opportunities to do so many other things now that we've figured out all the different ways we can use it. Let me turn this different light on so you guys can see these like with like even more of a flash kind of. Even better. So sparkly. If the sun ever comes out before I post this video, I will definitely show you guys out there. It has been raining for, I don't know, days and days and days at this point, and it's looks like it's going to be cloudy this week, so I don't know. We'll see. Nonetheless, they still look really pretty in this light, but I know in the sun they're just going to be like pow. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had so much fun with it. This was probably one of the most fun videos to make just because my love of the cat's eye is so big. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Please let me know if you want me to do more of like the TikTok hacks and recreating stuff that we've seen on TikTok go viral. Please make sure to give this video a like if you do want that, and also it helps me out a lot and I really appreciate it. Anyway, I will hopefully see you next time. Bye!